Welcome. So today we're going to break down something that is absolutely critical for every business leader right now: building an AI-ready workforce. Look, this isn't some far-off future idea anymore, it's a today problem, and we're going to walk through a real blueprint for how you can strategically get your entire organization up to speed for the age of AI.
Okay, let's just dive right in with a number that should honestly make every leader stop and think. 70%. A full 70% of employees are saying they don't have the skills they need to do their jobs. Now, that's not just a tiny crack in the foundation, right? That is a massive structural issue that AI is only going to make bigger if we don't tackle it head-on right now.
And that's exactly why we need to reframe this whole conversation. This isn't just another skills gap. No, this is a full-blown skills emergency. The pace that AI is moving at means that sitting around and waiting to see what happens, well, that's just not a strategy anymore. This requires immediate, and I mean immediate, strategic action.
Just look at the numbers. Experts are predicting this huge wave of reskilling. We're talking about at least 1.4 million workers needing totally new skills by 2026. And what's really wild is that even with this giant flashing warning sign, so many companies are just hesitant. They're almost paralyzed when it comes to actually investing in real comprehensive AI training. And this chart? This just perfectly illustrates the disconnect. Leaders know, they feel that their current learning programs aren't cutting it. Look at their top priorities. They want to align training with actual business goals and figure out how to measure its impact. It shows this deep down awareness that what they've been doing just isn't moving the needle in a way they can actually prove.
So let's build on that. Because, before you can fix a problem, you have to really understand what's broken. And the truth is, our old training methods are fundamentally broken for this new AI era. They were built for a different world, a slower world, and they just can't keep up anymore.
For decades, we've been stuck in what I like to call the multiple choice mindset. Traditional training checks if you can remember a fact long enough to pass a quiz. But what does that really tell you? What actually matters is, can you apply that knowledge to solve a messy, real-world problem? AI-powered assessments, on the other hand, can measure exactly that: application.
And the expert Gene Meister just nails it with this quote. There's this crazy paradox happening. Companies are absolutely terrified of being left behind, of becoming obsolete. But that very same fear often just leads to inaction. It's like they're caught in the headlights, stuck between knowing they have to move and not knowing which way to turn.
So you end up with learning and development teams trapped in this vicious cycle. They're spending something like 70% of their time just creating content that's a nightmare to scale for remote teams and is basically outdated the minute it's published. And then they're judged on these meaningless vanity metrics like completion rates. Who cares if someone completed a course if it had zero impact on the business?
So, what's the answer? What's the way out of this mess? Well, it's definitely not just throwing a few random AI workshops at people and hoping for the best. The real solution is about building a comprehensive, company-wide strategy around something called AI literacy.
Now, AI literacy is so much more than just technical skills. It's about developing the critical thinking to really get how AI works, how to use it strategically, and, this is a big one, how to handle all the ethical questions that come with it. It's about turning your employees into smart partners with AI, not just people who know which buttons to press.
And a really solid program is built on these 4 pillars that take you all the way from concept to real impact. You start with the foundations, the basics. Then you move to product delivery, the practical application. From there, and this is crucial, you layer on governance, the ethics and rules. And finally, you tie it all back to value, making sure everything you're doing actually creates results for the business.
Okay, so theory is great. A blueprint is great, but a blueprint is just a piece of paper if you don't actually know how to build a house, right? So let's get super practical about how you actually put this plan into action in your own organization.
First things first, you got to deal with the human element. A lot of your employees are probably nervous, maybe even scared that AI is coming for their jobs. You have to tackle that head on. Acknowledge the fear, reassure them that this is about making them better at their jobs, not replacing them, and then you have to actually involve them in the process. Once you've handled the people side, the rest is a clear, practical path. First, you do a needs assessment to figure out where your biggest skill gaps are. Then, you use that data to build a rock-solid business case to get your executives on board. And finally, before you go all in, you start small. You run a pilot program to test everything out and get feedback.
And let me be really clear about this next part. For any of this to actually work, it has to be driven from the very top.
Your leadership team has to champion this shift. They can't just sign the checks. They have to model this new way of thinking and make AI literacy a core part of your company culture.
So, when you actually manage to implement this blueprint successfully, the result is, well, it's profound. You're not just teaching people how to use a new tool. You are fundamentally transforming your entire organization into a team that's more innovative, more agile, and actually ready for the future.
And hey, these aren't just fuzzy, feel-good benefits. We're talking about hard, measurable business results. The data shows companies that really invest in this stuff see a huge ROI. We're talking a 35% jump in employee satisfaction, cutting training time by 26%, and boosting productivity by 22%. I mean, those are numbers that make a real difference.
So all of this really leaves us with one final critical question. Building an AI-ready workforce isn't really a technology project, it's a culture project. It all starts with building a learning culture that actually embraces constant strategic change. So the question is your organization's culture truly ready for what's coming?